Lennar, Tesla, KeyCorp, and Citibank are what TheStreet's columnists and editors are watching. I'm Catherine Ross, live at the NYC with Jim Cramer. Jim, investors have a lot to think about. Let's start with Lennar.
Yeah, look, Lennar hit the pause button last time. I was telling Kevin Kerner, he's stock of the day man. What happened last time was that Stuart Miller said business has gotten tough. It's the exact opposite on this call. They're saying business has gotten good, and this is a business. I mean, people don't understand. Mortgage rates go up, people buy fewer homes. Mortgage rates go down, people buy more homes. And that's what's happening. The spring selling season is going to be a good one. KB Home said the same thing. These are two stocks. Ivy Zelman, my favorite analyst, was saying buy them. We're all in with Ivy. It is looking good.
How do Lennar and Key and how do they compare, and KB compare to Home Depot and Lowe's?
Okay, well, remember yesterday I said you got to buy Home Depot because I said the spring selling season is good. That's what's happening. The weather was bad, and Jay Powell created his own gloom, which drove rates down and therefore made housing more affordable. A lot of this is man-made. If we had Stephen Moore as the Fed chief, we wouldn't even have an inverted yield curve. We would have a yield curve that made people buy stocks. So let's understand that if you rely totally on a yield curve, you really aren't understanding how artificial the yield curve is right now.
Last I checked, Lennar was up about 3%, and now I'm wondering, you said on Mad Money last night that Lennar is a buy. Do you still agree?
Oh, yeah. Lennar,
yeah? Why?
Very well run. Oh, because Stuart, look, I knew his father, Leonard. Stuart's put together, he followed in the footsteps of his father, now he's executive chairman. It's an incredibly well-run company. When rates are down, you buy Lennar.
All right, so I want to turn around and I want to start talking about Tesla.
Yeah, absolutely.
we gotta. What are your points there?
He's got this, April 4th
He's got
hearing.
the April 4th hearing.
And, Judge Nathan from Philadelphia's own would not necessarily be calling for a hearing, which neither side seemed to want, unless I think she had something very pointed to say to Mr. Musk, who, if you remember, the agreement was that he was not going to do what he did. Now, everyone who loves Tesla and Musk has said, Jim, what he said was not a contempt of court. That he tweeted that there'll be a run rate of 500,000 cars, and then they made a correction, 400,000 cars. By pointing out that that's the opposite of what the SEC wanted, I was hit with a level of opprobrium. Everything I've ever done wrong, every tape I've ever had, I ain't no saint, has been brought up, but not today, Satan. And I would point out that everything I said had the added advantage of being completely true, but it didn't matter because the truth is an abstraction to these people. Look, I just don't want Elon to go to jail. I don't want him to lose his job. I like the job he's doing. He didn't take it in the spirit with which I meant it, which is I don't want him to lose his job. I want him to stay. The chairman, Robin Denholm, said that these tweets were harmless. That doesn't help. That was a mistake. That was an ill-advised statement. They make so many ill-advised statements that it's so clear that they're like the most anti-lawyered up company I've ever seen. Now, we have to deal with lawyers and PR people all the time in the media. This is a firm that could get a little advice about what to do. You're not supposed to spit in the eye of any agency. I wouldn't spit in the eye of the ag department.
Really?
No.
No agency, none at all.
Government has unlimited capital. I mean, look, one of the things you learn when you went to law school is that you just don't mess with justice. Don't mess with the SEC. They can make life difficult for you. You want to do your job? Don't violate an agreement that you made and get in front of the judge, because what happened, if you read the SEC's brief, it wasn't about the SEC. It always feels like when Musk takes things on, it's about the SEC. It wasn't. It was about the court. It was about Judge Nathan. It's all yours. That was the SEC's brief. So what is Judge Nathan doing? She's having a hearing because it's all hers. And I don't think the hearing is going to be one where she's going to say, I love my Tesla, thank you. I don't think it's going to be like that. You think it'll be like that?
I just don't know. I do agree with you. I think that we need to have an action because obviously he can't be stopped. He can't be stopped. And the board hasn't stopped in the past.
Look, maybe she says, okay, look, it's time for Clozaril. Maybe she says that Klonopin. I don't know what she'll recommend. Maybe it might be some counseling. Maybe it's counseling in conjunction with Boost Bar. I don't know what it'll be.
Maybe it's one of those Apple apps that stops you if you're on Twitter for 2 hours.
That would be brilliant. Plus, they have apps that don't let you drive when you're drunk. I mean, anything's possible. but she's got to help him from himself. She has to save Elon from himself. Okay?
Do you think, you wrote a Real Money column a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about it, about the scenarios that could play out when Judge
that's
Nathan,
what Elon got mad at, was that piece.
But do you think
he got mad at me.
Do you think those...
My mommy's at 215-83-5918 if you want to get in touch with my mom. Let me know if you get a hold of her. That would be miraculous.
Do you think that those scenarios still stand up?
Yeah, that was a good piece. It was right.
Now, I've got an investing question for you. If I'm an investor, and I'm not a Tesla cultist, as you call them on Twitter.
Yeah, cultist.
So I'm not...
I call them Teslocrats, too, because they're so autocratic.
So if I'm not one of those, and I'm just investing in Tesla because I like the company, if I'm seeing all of this...
That's good.
Should I stick with my Tesla shares? Should I sell it?
People who like Tesla, the car, and want to own Tesla stock, God love you. It's like, by the way, when I'm on the KBH home story last night, they're talking about 50% of their homes in California going to be solar, okay? Well, that's Musk, right? So, look, I'm not against you, Elon. I think you're remarkable. I don't want you to go to jail. I'm better than your lawyers. I'll represent you. I'll go re-up my, go get my practice that I need and represent them. I don't know why I ever stopped. I don't know why I stopped. I mean, I once wrote a letter to a landlord when I was still, practicing lawyer. That was fabulous. Now it costs you like $5,000.
You like going up against landlords?
I like going up against anybody, frankly. Anyone. Anyone.
All right, so Jim, it is time for us to switch over. We want to quickly remind our audience to check out our Real Money premium subscription. Jim wrote an article on KeyCorp and Citibank. Now let's talk about that. I just
want to say for a second, I've been blogging. I've done over 35,000 blogs, and no one's ever heard of Real Money. And it's starting to rankle me, okay? I write every day. I get up at 4 a.m. and I write a piece, and then I write a piece midday, and then I write another piece. And I don't know a soul who reads Real Money, and it's beginning after let's say, 21 years, it's starting to get under my skin. 21 years, 35,000 columns. Why don't you read them, for heaven's sake?
3 times a day, too.
Hell? I mean, I wrote all these books. I got sold millions of copies. No one knows this Real Money. I created Real Money. I got the Real Money website in 1995. I've been writing there. It was free, but then I switched to paid to save the company. But no one I know has ever read Real Money, and it's passionate. I think I write good stuff.
And then they're also missing out on Doug Cass and Stephen Guilfoyle.
There's a lot. I mean, look, I'm promoting it because no one's ever heard of it. All right, I did it. What's the point here?
All right. What's the point here? I want to talk to you about Citibank because I thought it was actually really interesting.
I just talked about the logic of owning it versus the illogic of being emotional. And a caller called me yesterday and said, "Why do you own Citi for the trust?" Very complimentary about the trust. And I just said, "Look, I can't sell a stock that sells below tangible book where they're buying back 8% of the company. Good things can happen, and I can't go away from it." But I also talked about Key. Citi people think is too big to buy, but there's Key with an $11 book selling at 14 and change with a 4% yield. With Beth Mooney, she could retire. They've got a national footprint in 25 states. What the hell? Why doesn't someone buy Key for $18? It traded at 21. But the banks are so hidebound. The banks don't know how to do deals. My salute BBT and SunTrust, that was very good.
You really like that merger.
The fortunes they can save in consolidation are remarkable. But they just don't do what they're supposed to do, nor do the oils. Anadarko. Why is that still public? APA. I mean, EOG. I mean, Carrizo. Okay?
But why, if I'm an investor and I want to get into financials, why should I go into Citibank or KeyBank instead of JPM or Goldman Sachs?
Well, Citi, because it is below tangible book. Goldman's below tangible book, but it has the Malaysian problem, which is anywhere between $2 and $5 billion. I'm not as concerned, but it's going to go down as we get there. And Maxine Waters is going to hold some hearings. I don't think she's going to say, "Wow, I really love what you guys did in Malaysia." I don't think that's in the cards. JP Morgan is expensive versus those other two, but is a fortress balance sheet and a great company. I fear that this is going to go back to that 1992-95 period where you buy these stocks because of yield. And if that's the case, it's also like that 88, 89, then these stocks have further to fall. But if they are allowed to do whatever they want and we get unfettered, less regulation, then people want to buy them. But right now, it's a house of pain, Catherine, a house of pain.
I want to rewind because I see an investing education opportunity right there.
The hell, why not?
Explain to me what tangible book value is.
That's the actual amount of cash they have if they closed it on hand. So Citi's worth more dead than alive. But the problem is the abstraction I talk about in Real Money, which I've blogged more than 35,000 times. I mentioned that Citi's not going to close. It's not like Michael Corbat is going to say, you know what, I give up. We're closing. No. I mean, but it's no Lyft. It's no Levi's. That's what I'm focused on is Lyft. We have $75 is where we think it goes. Okay?
$75.
Yeah.
All right, Jim.
If you pay more than 80, it's because you paid on a market order and you're making a mistake, I think.
Okay, thank you for joining us. And if you're watching us on Facebook or on TheStreet.com, we're now jumping over to our Action Alerts Plus members-only show. Jim will be sharing more of his thoughts on Five Below and other holdings in his Action Alerts Plus portfolio. You can check it out on the ActionAlertsPlus.com. And also, here's a bonus, which you're going to love. For the duration of the basketball tournament, we're opening up the Action Alerts Plus Club to new members with a special introductory price.
Good.
Right?
Yeah, I thought Dan, this great guy at TheStreet, had me do my bracket. I wish I had said UNC. I do place LSU. If LSU had a coach, it would really be rather amazing.
You're doing better than me. I had Villanova all the way.
Well, that was ill-advised.
Okay, so even if your bracket is busted, like mine, you can still join this club.
I'm in the hunt.
Thanks, guys.